What's going on, Jerome's? Your Minnesota Vikings run offense has not been ideal. And Mattison, who was re-signed to a 2-year deal, as well as the Vikings trading for Cam Akers coming up on a month ago, it hasn't quite solved the issue of the Vikings on the ground. And they do need to be a lot more balanced, especially without Justin freaking Jefferson to help open up the passing game, especially off of play action, but just hasn't been there. And before we get in, no, the answer is not, hey, they should have kept Dalvin Cook. I mean, no, that ain't it. But rushing output has been very poop at so far this season through 6 games. The Vikings have only crested 100 yards on the ground twice, and also they've had a number of games where they've had less than 50 yards on the ground against the Bucs, the Eagles, and Week 6 against the crooked Chicago Bears. Now, the Bears, we're stacking the box, and they made things extremely inefficient with Mattison toting the rock, and they're basically just daring Cousins to take a deep shot, and it didn't go down. And I put that on Kirk. I put that on Kevin O'Connell for not scheming up, especially some play action deep shots, because the Bears were just begging for that. But is what it is in this spot. And you know what's weird is that the Vikings are. All right, so the Vikings so far this season have been absolutely elite when it comes to blocking things up front. So even though they're 32nd in rushing attempts, 113, they're 30th in rushing yards, 450, 20th in yards per carry, 4.0, and only the Vikings and the Steelers are the only teams without a rushing touchdown. They've been dogs up front. And the Minnesota Movement Company is back, man. And Darisaw and O'Neal and Josh Oliver have been leading the way, because this is elite. And, you know, throughout all the analytics, people taking things with a grain of salt, whether it's PFF or DVOA, the Vikings offensive line run game has been good. They've been opening up holes. It just, I don't know what it is. Where Mattison is a guy I like a lot, but I feel like it's a lot like Hockenson, where there's just like a mental block right there where, I mean, spots where it's blocked up, where it should be like a 7-8 yard gain, goes for 4. Spots where it's a 4 or 5 yard gain, go for 2. Spots where you could bust one, doesn't happen. But I mean, the fact that the Vikings are all Vikings offensive line are all top 6 at their respective positions in terms of run blocking grade, and also Josh Oliver is the best blocking tight end in the game, and CJ Ham is the fourth best run blocking fullback. Hockenson, that little guy, don't worry about that little guy. But everyone else has a tight grouping in terms of being elite at run blocking. And the fact that they just have not had that output, it kind of makes you say, huh. And the running back so far this season, Mattison, 82 carries for 320, 3.9 yards per carry, 0 touchdowns, of course, 1 fumble, which is not good in the Philly game. Yeah. 18 catches for a $104, but 5 drops. 5 friggin' drops, which... Again, it's almost like Hockenson and Mattison are just having a running battle of who's going to drop the ball more. It's rough, man. And also a PFF pass blocking grade of 54.3. He's allowed 3 pressures and a sack. The sack came against Chicago. Akers, who, like we said, has been here about a month. I mean, Cam Akers does have a little bit more burst, and you know he's diet Dalvin Cook for a reason. He is much younger, but you see him out there when he's getting his carries, only 11 for 63, but ripping off 5.7 yards per carry. He does have a little bit more wiggle. He does have a little bit more juice. It does seem like he's a little bit crisper and much more of a danger to busting a long one. And even receptions-wise, 5 for 21, and also he's been solid as a pass blocker, hasn't allowed a single pressure as of yet. Now, and also Ty Chandler's in the mix too, has been ripping off some long runs. Now, it should be a spot where the Vikings, I understand they want Mattison to be RB1. They invested in him, a 2-year deal, but it's not a massive deal. And frankly, at this point, the Vikings run game has been a very sorry excuse. And without Justin Jefferson, they have to get the running game going, and also to keep play action viable, to make sure that they can't stack the box, as well as to keep the defense on the sideline and rested. So they got to start making decisions. They have to start working in Cam Akers more, maybe even some Ty Chandler more, and you know, also with King Kenny back at practice, maybe he'll get into the mix. But realistically, it's come down to Mattison and Akers. And it should be an even split to start games. And whoever has the hot hand should be getting the rock the rest of the way. Whether whoever's ripping off long runs, whoever's picking up pass protection, whoever's not dropping the ball or fumbling it, go from there. Go from there, man. Because, again, this output is no bueno. And the fact that the Vikings offensive line and tight ends and CJ are absolutely getting after in run blocking, it's pathetic. It's pathetic that the Vikings have been blocking things up so well up front, but the running game has been so inefficient. So they got to figure something out, and they got to make a tough decision. Again, I mean, this could be a spot where would Zimmer have benched Mattison after the fumbles and the drops and the pressures? Possibly. Is Kevin O'Connell a little bit too nice to do that? I don't know, man. Even though, remember Kevin O'Connell talked tough, was like, hey, if you keep dropping the ball, you're going to be sitting. Okay, man. But either way, Akers been in the building for almost a month. He knows the playbook. Let him run. Let him run, man. But your thoughts are thoughts. Mattison or Akers, Vikings have to do something to get the run game going. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.